Welcome to the Verses of Life, where military resilience meets professional clarity and faith overcomes chaos. Get battle-tested wisdom with biblical insight to triumph through growth. Now for your host, Dr. Veronica Sites.
Welcome to another episode of the Verses of Life. I'm Veronica Sites, and I have a very special guest for you today, Mike Nash. He has served in the 82nd Airborne Infantry and remains a reservist, and very apt and adequate in a very special space that I want to talk about because it is near and dear to my heart. We'll be talking about post-traumatic growth, because where you are is not where you have to stay, and there's always a story that needs to be heard. So, Mike, I want to welcome you to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really glad to be here.
Listen, I'm honored. I mean, it's a great space to step into and to be able to have a conversation about, number one, common space. As an Army chaplain, I get it. And this is what I like to guide the conversation of. Post-trauma growth is a journey. Mm-hmm. It's a hope. It's also a help. And you have lived experience. I like to say the best experience is not just lived, it's the reviewed lived experience.
The unexamined life is not worth living, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So what brought you into the space of post-trauma growth?
Ooh, necessity.
Okay.
After a dozen years on active duty, after a deployment, and then leaving the community and the camaraderie that you get from being on active duty, I was working in corporate America, oil and gas in Houston. And I felt kind of alone, and I was going through stuff that I felt like I was the only one going through it, and struggles with my marriage, with being a dad, with work. I didn't think I had an anger problem. I thought everybody else just needed to stop pissing me off,
Okay. Yeah.
And turns out, no, I did have a lot going on, and I needed some help. And so it was actually my marriage collapsing, and then me realizing that it was too late for my marriage, but it wasn't too late for me to be the dad that my children deserved. Okay. And that was my motivation to get help. Okay. And everything before that just didn't seem to click. Yeah. I felt like I didn't need it, or it wasn't for me. Mm-hmm. And once that happened, I knew that there was nothing I wouldn't do to give my children a better life and the dad that they deserved.
Awesome. May I ask, how old were your kids at that time?
Oh, they were, I guess, maybe 3 and 5, 4 and 6, right about that time. Yeah. Where it was all falling apart. Yeah. For me. And so yeah, they're teenagers now. My son's 19, my daughter's 17. Yeah. Yeah.
So does he have any aspirations of going into military at all?
He doesn't. I think his mom and grandma might kill him, with the way that they felt about my service. Yeah. But no, I would be honored if either of my children wanted to serve, but there's zero pressure coming from me. Yeah. I think it's so great for so many people, and lots of good can come from it.
Well, we here on the platform of the Verses of Life, we are all about sustaining life. And that is a high focus on preventing suicide. Life is a choice. It's a gift. It's a choice to sustain it. It's a choice to equip yourself and surround yourself with people that can speak to places that are very, very difficult. That was a hard thing to go through, coming out of the military, having all of the anger, the world falling apart that you we're coming home to. One of the things that I'm very instrumental in promoting right now is a movement called Homefront Valor.
Okay.
It's never about who's coming home. It's about what comes home. In your lived experience and the motivation that brought you to a point of pivot, you couldn't save the marriage, but you could put the oxygen mask on yourself to save the future for your children. Yeah. Tell me about that, because that's a post-trauma growth journey in itself. So tell me what brought you to that, and how does it change lives?
I knew I wanted to join the Army since I was a little kid. my favorite uncle, the one I was closest to, he served in Desert Storm. And I was 10 years old then when I got my amazing love of country and patriotism with the yellow ribbons around the trees and, 10-year-old watching Norman Schwarzkopf, on the news thinking, is he back there? Where's Uncle Paul?
Looking for him.
So I knew I wanted to be a soldier for forever. And after serving, I remember coming home from Iraq. My son was 3 months old when I deployed, and I got extended, did a 15-month deployment. And so I came home to an 18-month-old and a wife that I hadn't, barely seen in 2 years. And I remember thinking to myself, on the car ride home from Fort Hood, driving up here to Dallas, I made it without getting screwed up. I remember thinking that.
Okay.
I didn't get killed.
Yeah.
I didn't get blown up. I got all my fingers and toes, and I didn't catch the PTSD.
You didn't catch it
I
like
didn't
it's a
catch
disease,
it like
right?
it was a disease.
Right. Yeah.
I remember thinking that, like, whew, I'm okay. And that couldn't have been the farthest from the truth. It took a couple, 2 or 3 years from that moment before I started talking to a therapist, and she explained to me the physiological changes that happened in my brain.
Yeah.
And that was transformative for me. Just the understanding that the way I feel right now is my body trying to survive. There wasn't something wrong with me. I wasn't broken. I wasn't weak. My body has been living in survival mode. And if my physiology could change, if my brain could change, I realized, well, it can also change again and for the better. And then I started leaning into learning about things like neuroplasticity and understanding that the things that are going on physiologically in my body, if I could learn to recognize them, then I could talk myself down and I could have better self-talk. And this idea of mindfulness and self-talk and these other tools that were available to me, that gave me permission to feel the way that I felt, and also gave me the what's the word I'm looking for, the hope that I needed that I could get better. And I just needed to know that it was possible.
Yes.
And maybe I'm sure everybody has heard incredible stories of people who have overcome incredible things. Things that sound so much harder than what you have ever achieved. And it might give you hope that you can do the same. And that's what I started seeing. I started seeing these examples. I didn't know what post-traumatic growth was. I didn't know it by that name, but I knew the idea of people overcoming hardships to live incredible lives and to make a difference in the lives of others. And that's what I learned post-traumatic growth was. And I want me some of that.
You want some of that result. You wanted that result.
I wanted those results.
Yeah.
And it manifested itself in so many ways, not just my mental health, but how I managed money, for example. I didn't have to go on living paycheck to paycheck after I could learn some things about how to manage money better, or how to make better decisions, or how to not do things the way that I've always done.
Yeah.
And then that set me on a journey that has been, about a dozen years in the making of me trying to become an even better version of myself.
Excellent. I love it. You've touched on something that I wanted to have you on as a guest, because we share a space of passion, which is the brain can be changed. And you change the brain, the person changes, the future changes, and all of those things. What is incredible to me that you shared, it's not uncommon. We escaped. I survived. And the journey of post-trauma growth is shifting from surviving to giving the brain permission to learn to thrive. Learning to thrive. It's intentional, it's directional, and there was something that you shared. Early on, you knew you wanted to be in the Army. And, Offset, you shared, you had a clear aiming point even then. You wanted to be part of the 82nd Airborne Infantry. Where did you serve exactly?
Yeah, no, that was it. I got my love of country from my uncle who served, and he was an infantryman. So I knew I wanted to be an infantryman. I joke, I have another uncle who was a pilot, and I think I followed the wrong uncle. But my Uncle Paul served as an infantryman, and I wanted to be an infantryman. And then in 8th grade, we were learning American history, and our American history teacher brought a gentleman named Mr. Roberts to speak to our class, and he had jumped into Normandy on D-Day. And he was teaching us about World War II and D-Day, and I was blown away. I was mesmerized. And I remember getting up. I was already 6 foot tall in 8th grade.
In eighth grade.
In 8th grade, I remember standing in front of Mr. Roberts, who was a little man. In my mind, he was in his 80s, but probably back in the early 90s, not so much. But I remember telling him, my uncle served in Desert Storm. He was an infantryman. I want to be an infantryman, but I want to jump out of planes like you did. I want to be a paratrooper. And he said to me, well, I'm an airborne infantryman. And I got excited. I didn't know that they could go together.
Yeah.
And I said, so I can be an airborne infantryman? And he looked up at me with his like arthritic finger, and he goes, if you're man enough.
I love it.
And so this old man gave me this challenge as this, scrawny 6 foot tall, 8th grader. If I'm man enough, I can be an airborne infantryman in the 82nd Airborne Division. And that's exactly what I wanted to do. And I think my recruiter nearly fell out of his chair whenever he asked me, so what are you going to do after high school? I was like, I'm going to be in the 82nd Airborne. I'm going to jump out of planes and blow stuff up. He was like, oh, okay, sign here.
Clear aiming point. I mean,
yeah.
that's something that you do now. That's part of guiding.
Oh, yes.
A journey.
I have a whole framework for my coaching and consulting, and a lot of people hire me to help them with the strategy and the tactics of growing, scaling, preparing to sell a business.
Yeah,
But oftentimes we go back to clarity.
Yeah.
Because if you're not clear on what you're trying to achieve, the strategy and tactics we come up with may not work. But if we're super clear on what you're trying to achieve, the choices are a lot easier. They're a lot more clear.
Yes.
And so yes, absolutely, helping people get crystal clear on what they want is part of what I do when I help them.
And you specialize in helping business owners that may have a diagnosis of ADHD. Tell me a little bit about the strength of that kind of a connection.
Well, sometimes I say it somewhat playfully when I'm face-to-face networking. People, ask me, "What do you do?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm a business coach and consultant for entrepreneurs with ADHD." And they look up, they're like, "Oh, well, that's me," or "Oh, isn't that most of them?" Or, and in a way, it kind of is. I've heard some stats that you're 300 times more likely to be an entrepreneur if you're neurodivergent, and how accurate that is, I don't know, but it from my own personal experience, it seems pretty accurate that a lot of the people that choose to be business owners would consider themselves, whether they're undiagnosed, diagnosed, medicated, unmedicated, self-medicated, doesn't matter. They probably relate to a lot of the characteristics that we identify with someone who is ADD, ADHD, dyslexic, OCD, or even got a hint of autism. That it is so much in there that makes us even better entrepreneurs.
Yeah, which I like, mind blown right now, because as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking, okay, and the success and what it looks like for individuals. Because in transparency, as an entrepreneur, ADHD's got to factor into chasing those shiny objects. I mean, we can be clear on a point, and then somebody comes up with another opportunity. Hence, you divert from the course, and then you come back, and so.
If you lean into the neuroscience about the whole idea that you're neurodivergent, which means you're divergent from the typical, but you look back through history, it's usually those individuals that were the ones that kept the tribe alive.
Atypical.
The atypical. And so there's a need for us. We're not the broken ones. It's the system that we're trying to be crammed into, the education system that is broken, that makes us feel like there's something wrong with us. I was a terrible private, because I was the private that whenever they said, "Give me 10 privates," and we all run out there and they're like, "Unload all the boxes off of that truck and take them into this building." And they start lining up to do the little chain gang, and I'm like, "Who's got the keys to the truck? Can we scoot it closer?" And they're like, "Shut up, private. I don't pay you to think." "Okay, we'll just unload the truck the hard way." Everywhere I look, I saw those things, and I'm like, this seems silly. Why are we doing it this way? And those make some of the most amazing entrepreneurs. These people have this idea that, oh, Well, why don't you just, I feel like Sherlock Holmes sometimes, like when I'm looking at people's businesses and they're trying to figure out why it's not growing or why it's plateaued. And I'm like, well, there's your problem right there.
Yeah.
You know, it's elementary, dear Watson. Like, it just, for a lot of people who have brains like ours, we just see things that seem, you know, camouflaged to other people. And I think that gives us an edge.
Which is exactly why everybody needs mentors, coaches, guides to take them from point A to point B, because you don't know what you don't know.
Certainly.
Somebody's got the skills and the savvy to do it. But even more so with that is somebody's going to be able to see blind spots that an individual often cannot.
I'm also a huge believer in that we shouldn't try to become well-rounded individuals as much as build well-rounded teams.
Yes.
Like, lean into your strength. So whether it's, you know, a partnership in a marriage or in business or even in friendships, when you have people that have complementary skill sets, talents, preferences, that makes you a more well-rounded team. And one of the cheat codes for neurodivergent entrepreneurs is to have a neurotypical partner, whether it's an executive assistant, a virtual admin, a chief of staff, or a business partner that can help balance that. And if y'all can learn to work together, oh, it's amazing. There are things that, you know, a lot of people like me, the high ADHDs, we fall in love with somebody who is a very neurotypical and will drive them crazy and vice versa. But if you learn to work together, they are the ones, like, you're calm in a crisis where they might lose their mind, but they're also super calm with the stuff that seems super bland and boring, that stresses us out. The idea of, you know, renewing a driver's license or, you know, doing something that they're just like, yeah, okay, all you got to do is this, that, and the other. They just take care of those things. That's huge, and I love that. And the better we get at finding people who complement our strengths is going to be a cheat code for life.
Yeah. You know, you in sharing that, it just makes me think, you know, the balance of a team, or the bringing people, the right people to surround you to create that team, is there's a lot of misconnection, or it takes a while for people to realize that some are visionaries and some are integrators. And without that balance, you're really kind of cogging along on a little bit of less than round wheel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Type of thing. And so for the things in the projects that you are working on right now, like, what's the best fit for you? Like, whose problem do you solve ideally?
Oh, as a consultant and coach, I blend the two together, where a lot of consultants would be afraid to talk about the heart stuff, or you know, the desire or that clarity. They're solving a business problem. And for a lot of coaches, they might not know the businesses in and out, or they don't know what they don't know. What I love to do is help business owners make better decisions faster.
Love that.
I feel like so many people that are trying to grow a business, they're pulled in so many different ways, and they don't know which choice is going to have the highest likelihood of success and greatest impact. And I help them do that. So a lot of times it's, I use the theory of constraint, the idea that there's probably one thing that's preventing, you know, the growth of the business, or the flow through the pipeline. And a lot of people work on the things that's not the most important thing to work on. And so I help them identify that. And a lot of it is just the stuff that we're telling ourselves. And my favorite thing, it doesn't happen all the time, but my absolute favorite thing, sometimes we're working on tactics or strategy or even clarity, like I mentioned before. But the foundation of all of that is belief.
Yes.
And so many people, not just business owners, but so many of the people that I work with don't believe they deserve that which they desire.
You're right. That's true.
And I get to help them work through that. And that is my favorite stuff. So although I am a business coach for business folks, and I can help them grow, scale, prepare to sell their business, it's that heart stuff that I love. And I got that from mentoring and coaching veterans in transition. That's where it all came from. So I just happened to get, you know, an additional skill set through my MBA and experience to help business owners. But it all started with helping veterans transition to civilian life.
So I know the answer to this, but I want our audience to hear the answer to this. Part of the growth journey, the post-trauma growth, is you had to tap into heart. Like, you had to deal with the F word, the feelings, that core. See, my service, my MOS is chaplain. And I tease people because this is what I was dubbed by my Marine brother, is the happy chappy. The people call when things get crappy. Like, that is me. That is me. And the thing about it is, I will often, in presentation, I'm saying, okay, I'm going to say something because I want you to, we're going to start with awareness. I'm going to say something that's either going to cause your head to tilt, your brain to go, what? Wait, source, and what just, wait, I need you to get a grasp on, I'm going straight for the BS. I just let that sit there for just a minute. Like, I said 2 letters that have meaning to you, and I need you to get that thought in your mind. Like, now I'm going to frame it where I'm coming from. We're going to start with your belief system, because it's going to change based on your belief system, or it's going to stay the same based on your belief system.
So good.
And that is where transformation takes place. So from your story, I'm going to give you a moment to speak to our audience in just a minute, but the thought and the belief, I got home, I'm safe, I'm good. I didn't catch the PTSD. It was a framework that met with a different reality. And that different reality brought you to a crossroads. And that crossroads is what opened the door of opportunity for you to step into the unknown, obviously the uncertain, but you had major motivation. The skin in the game was your children.
Yep.
And because they are your next generation, that became very, very personal. If nothing changed, nothing was going to change.
Yeah.
So I want you to speak to the person right now. They're going to be separating from service at some point. They have some expectations. It may not go all well, but speak life into them. You know, from your journey of lived and now triumphant experience. Because I know you're still on the journey. We all are.
Yeah.
We all are.
What do I want to share with them? Something I really didn't plan for was the loss of identity. And I identified as being a soldier. It's all I ever wanted to do. And then I was able to transition that to being a veteran, and that was my new identity. Then I had a great job as the executive director of a nonprofit that supported wounded and disabled veterans, and that became my identity. And all of those losses, and then there was the husband identity. One, don't tie yourself to any identity that can be taken from you. That was a lesson hard learned. But to just know that you can change your life. If you don't like what's going on right now, you have the power to change it. But in order to do that, you got to keep breathing. So that was a tough one for me. I almost stopped breathing. And then I wouldn't have been able to do anything. I wouldn't have been any good for anybody. And so, what is that? Dory from Finding Nemo? Just keep swimming.
Just keep swimming.
Just keep swimming. And just keep breathing. Don't give up.
Yeah.
Lean in. Ask for help. Surround yourself with people that understand and are willing to walk that road with you. That makes a world of difference. But the belief that things can get better, and they will. I just watched Rory McIlroy win back-to-back Masters, and he has this amazing quote. It's not belief, it's knowing.
Yes.
Knowing that it's going to be okay, knowing that it's all going to work out. Maybe not the way that you planned, maybe not the way that you wanted, but it's going to work out. But you just got to keep breathing. You got to keep swimming. Don't give up.
I'm Veronica Sites with the Verses of Life. Everything that Mike has shared with you is absolutely foundational truth. You are alive on purpose. You have a purpose. And what is touching you right now, it's not your identity. I want to speak life to you for just a moment. Who you are right now is predicated on whose you believe you are. You're not your own. You are bought with a price. You have a Savior. You have somebody who has a blueprint that is to prosper you. He loves you. As a chaplain, I want you to know that there is a community around you. You've got to find the right people that will help you breathe in a cadence that is life-sustaining. Yes, keep breathing. Learn to breathe for the marathon. You're here for the long haul. And every decision you make touches a multitude of people. Stay. I'm Veronica Sites with the Verses Life.
This has been the Verses of Life, where warriors and professionals live life on purpose, silence doubt, and lead with action. Stay strong, stay grounded, and remember, growth through pain reveals a greater purpose. Stay. The world needs you.